Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. I'm your boy Tactix.
It's Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing?
Not just Darcy. What happened, guy?
I don't know.
You switching it up?
I'm not feeling the just. It just feels like I'm downgrading myself. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I think you should be like, I'm Super Darcy or something.
Nah.
I'm Geeky Darcy?
Can you imagine like a superhero roll up and it's like, who are you? Super Darcy. It's like, no. It's like, what? Super of what? Like, we don't even know what Darcy is to begin with, let alone super that.
I'm the Darcy.
Yeah, it's built better. I mean, everyone expects me to roll up and be like, I'm Mr. Darcy, which I'm like, no, it's not my last name. Okay, it's my first name. Yeah, I always get two references. It's either like Mr. Darcy. I'm like, I've never seen Pride and Prejudice, and I almost don't want to at this point. Then
you got it. I want them to I want them to make a Americanized, Westernized Pride and Prejudice with a black Mr. Darcy.
Yeah, trust me. If you had like one show where like that's how everyone remembers the name Umar, they'd be like,
I'm sorry, Harold and Kumar. Do you have any idea how many times people have called me Kumar in my life?
So there you go. So
I still love Harold and Kumar, man.
Fine, whatever. Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about right now, guys?
Anyways, let's move on.
I asked a minor question that just
we deviated so far from what I originally said. I'm like, what is happening right now?
And that's why you're here to loop us in. Don't go away for 2 weeks ever again.
Yeah.
Anyways, Umar, what's on the agenda for today?
All right, so a new trailer dropped. Well, actually, a couple new trailers dropped, which we'll be talking about both of them. But the first one I want to talk about is a new animated film by Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm. I don't know why I said it like that. Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm.
Like, look over there. Whatever. I don't know what's going on with me right now. Anyway, so Bruce Timm, who did the Batman animated series, he actually, I won't say that because I'm going to wait until my reaction comes in. But he has developed a new kind of like an Elseworld Batman movie, animated movie coming out, and it's called Batman: The Soul of the Dragon. I hope both of you've watched the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to ask what y'all think.
Yeah, we gotta give it to Tactix first, because
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't know. I'm not. I wasn't blown away by the trailer and what I saw. It seems to be deviating from what I'm typically used to seeing nowadays with a lot of these Batman properties, and like it being a lot more dark. And this seems a little bit more lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that I was getting like. Oh man, I'm blanking on the Batman cartoon. It's the more campier one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Brave and the Bold.
Yes, yeah. I was kind of getting that vibe just because a lot of the dialogue that was coming from Michael J. White. I was gonna say Michael J. Fox.
Michael Jai White.
Yes. Jai White, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of his dialogue was it came off very comical, and I don't know, not to say that I'm against like comedy in these animated movies. It's just I really want them to get back to some of the more darker storylines and less on the campier side. So I don't know, I wasn't 100% sold on it. Like I do like certain aspects of it, like I do, because I mean it kind of reminds me of like a Bruce Lee movie in a sense, right? So I can appreciate it on that accord, but as a whole, I don't know, it doesn't have me sold 100% yet.
Darce?
Yeah, it's weak. I don't know. Like, so let me put it this way. It's above Batman Ninja for me in terms of trailers, and I just saw Batman Ninja and I was like, no. Like animated like 3D one, the joke.
I actually didn't watch it because it looks so stupid.
Bro, I watched like a little bit of it, and I know some people are like, "Oh, it's actually better than you think," and I'm like, "Bro, I watched a little bit of it, and I was like, No, this is like, it just felt like not Batman to me, even though it was Batman. And it was like, it was more like a reimagination of Batman inside of another kind of storytelling. Right. And when you try to take that lens of like, what if this kind of thing invented a Batman, but then it was the actual Batman brought into this thing through some kind of, I don't know, parallel dimension. I don't know, some whatever. And I was already like 2 minutes into this, like, I'm bored. Like, I don't want to watch this. This film looks like it's above that for me, but not by a lot. I don't know. It's just overall, it like I like the Bruce Lee vibe, but yeah, similar to Tactix, it feels a little too campy for me. Now, if I want to get something that feels campy and lighthearted, this is gonna be a funny way of saying this, but I would love to see a Batman spin-off film from the Harley Quinn television show, right? Like something that's just like, and I don't know how you would do that. I'm not saying that there's like a huge opportunity there, but at least like, even when he's so ridiculous with him, it like still makes sense. Like when he like breaks every bone in his body in that stupid fight, and it's like Batman's kind of dumb, but it makes sense because it's like it's his will to like not give up is why he put himself in a situation he couldn't handle. And you're like, okay, that still makes sense to me. Whereas like some of this I was watching and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me at all. Like it doesn't, like in the trailer, it didn't feel like this is what Batman would do, or it kind of felt like, I don't know, like Bruce Wayne had like, back when he was before Batman, he was still in high school and he was doing this and doing that and he had this fling or whatever, and that person brought him back to his old ways. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, his personality just felt weird to me, but I digress.
Yeah, so like from my perspective, I am in complete agreement with both of you. I found, like, honestly, I am not, just because you brought it up, the Batman Ninja, as I said before, didn't even bother to watch it, mostly for the reasons that you described of like why you turned it off. But also, I hated the animation. Like, I don't like that kind of animation to begin with. So already it was like batting zero for me. But then I saw the actual concept of it, and I was like, in terms of this, I can see, like, if I was the studio and like Bruce Timm came to me and was like, hey, I want to do this, as a fan, I'd be like, wait, you want to tell a story where, like, because all four characters, Lady Shiva, what's his name? I forget their names right now. Michael J. White's character, he's like a martial artist in that, but also the other dude, I think it's like Peter Morgan or something like that. I can't remember. All four of them, like Batman, those two, and Lady Shiva, they are considered to be the greatest martial artists in the DC universe. So I get the need to, like, hey, let's do like a Bruce Lee themed Enter the Dragon style movie based on these four before he became Batman, how they all trained together, blah, 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 blah. I could get behind that concept. That trailer did not do a good job. And it doesn't look like this movie is going to do a good job because it just looks campy. And I'm like, if you're going to show the four best fighters, like human fighters in the DC universe, and like, it's one thing if you want to do like an Enter the Dragon style situation, like a homage, but if you're going to take like the 70s campiness and make it like the film, y'all missing a step.
Yeah. The New 52 style, like, I'm trying to think of which one. Yeah, and like and there's like the Batman and Robin one, or Batman, there's something with Robin, the one where he there's like the actual bats.
Yeah,
bat humans, whatever, whatever to that. But
man bats.
but the man bats. But the animation style in some of those would have played really well. Very slender style drawing, very quick moving. Because then you really and then maybe if they try to push it and do some cinematography with their drawings that we hadn't seen before, some angles or something like that, just that would take from a homage from some of the greatest like martial art, Chinese like martial art films that we've seen, where they really do a good job of like showing the blocking and all that kind of stuff. Because it's animation, you can draw however you want to draw as long as you have the skill for it, right? So like, I wouldn't mind if they did like that New 52 style, adapted it some way, which whatever, that would have worked better for me, just to be able to, I mean, maybe it'll be better than we think, but I feel like that would have been a stronger way to show martial arts, because if that's the focus of it, then I don't know, just make it really, really dope to watch.
For me, honestly, and like I want to ask. This is like a secondary question to this question. Personally, I think Bruce Timm has gone the way of like. Now, granted, these are comic book writers, but Jeff Johns, Frank Miller, and Jeff Loeb. All three of these guys, when they've like in recent comic stuff, these were giants. Like these were the guys, and now they dole out stuff, and it's just like y'all lost. Like I think the genie's powers have waned. You've like, lost the golden goose. You guys are just writing shit right now, and none of it's really making a lot of sense. Bruce Timm did the Batman animated series. He did Superman the animated series. He did Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and Batman Beyond. Like this man he has created the animated universe for DC. But lately, he's really lost track because all the not even the Harlequin show, the Harlequin movies, and like Suicide Squad and like a few other stuff. Like he's been over. Like I think he even did Justice League Gods and Monsters, and like the ideas in there, like just what we're saying for this movie, like the ideas are. Well, I'm saying it. Like the ideas are there, but like the execution has gone completely. Like taking a complete U-turn on on quality, and it's oversexed, it's missing the mark, and it's getting more and more campier. And I'm like, Bruce, what happened?
Interesting. I mean, like, I feel like I had a thought in the middle of this.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Frick, I'm trying to remember what it was now. Now you know when you say I had a thought, now you can't remember it.
Yeah,
that's what's happening to me right now. Tactix, what are your thoughts, man?
I've got no other thoughts other than what I just said before.
Did you guys watch The Killing Joke?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What did you think of The Killing Joke? Because that was Bruce Timm.
The beginning was complete bullshit. Like, what was the whole point of that Batgirl story arc? I like it. It felt so out of place. I felt like we didn't need that.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck was that?
It was just weird. I don't know. I wasn't feeling that at all. This is trash. Heart garbage.
I remember the thought I was gonna say, and I don't know how that helped. Is that who's the guy who scored Batman? The film, like sound composer.
Which one?
Batman.
The animated series?
No, like the original, like Batman sound.
Danny Elfman, I believe, from like the 1989.
Yeah. So you take Danny Elfman, right? I remember when we got Justice League. Oh, right, with whatever his name, potentially said racist things behind the scenes, director. When they brought back Danny Elfman to score the movie, in context of the world, it's like, yes, he has this legacy, but people will have their way of doing something. They might have a great moment where, they're presented with something and they come up with a creative idea. And some of those people will continue to be creative. They're presented with new problems and they'll come up with new answers. And some people will keep applying the old. And I'm sorry, but like the one thing I hated about Justice League, one of the things I hated was the scoring. And it feels the same thing to me as what you're talking about with Bruce Timm. I hated the fact that they scored the original Batman sounds and other sounds into the Justice League movie. Because if you look at the world that was built, part of that world is sound.
Sorry, which Justice League movie are you talking about?
The live action one.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. I'm with you. All right.
Yeah. Right. The one, it was the first two were done by Junkie XL with a little bit of I forget his name right now, but mostly Junkie XL's scoring for them. Right. The very he does like the synthesizer kind of sound mixed with everything else. It's always like dark and moody, and so all that's set up in Zack Snyder's universe. And then you get to this part where you get the third one, they just slap in the Batman original scoring, and it didn't fit. It didn't match. And so it's similar in the way that like Bruce Timm is out here, like maybe applying some of these ideas that he's had, but then not applying them in the context of where we see Batman now. And like this idea, like you said, has a premise and it makes sense, but it needs to be applied in a way that kind of matches up with where Batman is and where Batman is going. Because like this idea just feels like it's like completely out of a different place.
Then let me ask you both a question, and then Tactix, I'm gonna come to you first, just because I like putting you on the spot.
Cool.
If I am a studio and you're the director, and I say to you, Tactix, I want you to do a film about Batman and the three other best martial artists in the DC universe. How would you go about that?
Shit, that's a good question.
And this one's coming back to you too, Darcy. So
honestly, you know what? This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't like, and maybe this is specific to Batman, but I don't like when outside of the Justice League or like the standard like the Avengers and stuff like that. I don't like when a group of superheroes come together and they team up, and then like the focus is so scattered. I like when it comes to like Batman, I much rather have stories about him maybe teaming up with like one other person, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember a long time ago, Umar, you sent me a comic panel of Bruce Wayne kind of traveling the world and like obtaining a whole bunch of knowledge that would eventually help aid in his mission as Batman. And there was one that really stood out to me was when he was studying with Tibetan monks, and he was learning Tumo meditation. And there's like that scene where with the panel ice. where the ice, where he's like standing under just under ice, or like it's like snowing or whatever, and he trains his body to kind of generate body heat, and then the snow starts to turn into a waterfall. And like that's the kind of shit that I want to see more of that. Like we got a little bit of that in the kind of it was almost like along the same style as like the Animatrix, where it was like Batman or Gotham. It was called Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights, yeah.
Where
that was like, dope. I know. I'm with you on that one.
It was like multiple stories of like Batman and his just like different stories of him, and like in his beginning or his early stages of becoming Batman. And even like we saw some episodes of him like before he became Batman, he was like training and like what that process was like. I would like to see more of that if we're ever going to revisit Batman before he became Batman, kind of thing, right? And yes, you can have other people involved, but I don't like the idea of, especially in the early stages of his Batman journey, I don't like so many other people being involved, because then it detracts from that growth, and that like we're all interested in, we want to see Batman. We don't want to see I personally don't want to see other characters, especially the characters that I'm not really familiar with. And I know that's might be unfair to say, because it's like, how do you give like more obscure characters their shine if you don't,
Well, that's why I was asking you, like, just like with the premise of like yeah, they obviously have their names, but they're not well known, that even I don't know their full names. Like Lady Shiva is the only one that I know, like 100%.
Yeah.
But like that's why I was asking, like, how would you want to go about it? But it sounds like you wouldn't even want to go through it. You'd want to like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure maybe Darcy can answer that a lot better than I can. I just personally, for me, as a preference, it didn't grip me, and I wouldn't really know how to write it in a compelling way that makes it very interesting to watch. You know what I mean? Because I feel like
it's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I just like when the focus is primarily on, and this is a biased opinion because you know how much I love Batman. So it's like I just want more Batman shit. You know what I mean? Like, and less of like the other side characters, which I know is an unfair thing to say, but that's just me. All
right, Darce.
Yeah, I was thinking like a lot that whole time. Like, how would I want this? There's part of me that, if I had to play this out in like this multiple, all these characters, I feel like I would want it to be like a journey through them, whether it's a like his journey to working with them or whatnot. But I feel like I'd want to see it build and progress. And I had something in my head that I've forgotten now because that's how my memory works tonight. Is like I think of something, I forget it. But damn, I forget what kind of film that kind of did this, where it was like one. It's like each thing is like a lesson, and then he's basically meeting each character, and it's kind of like progressing as like lessons on the way through.
My mind went to Kill Bill. That's probably not what you're thinking.
That's where my mind went, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. That could kind of work.
It's weird how both of our minds went.
Yeah, if I was to create something, I'd probably do it along the lines of like Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's okay. So Darcy, okay, if you remember the movie, or are you done? Do you still have more to go?
I had so much more to. No, I'm messing with you. No, I think that was pretty much it. But
okay, if you think when I give my answer, if you think of it, just like cut me off and be like, "Yo, this is the movie."
Yeah.
For me, like, well, now I'm actually thinking about Kill Bill, but like, what I was thinking was more of the fact that like I like the idea that he trained with them in the past, but then like they've separated. He's gone back to being Batman, but keep it in the modern day. Like, I don't like the '70s vibes, and shit like that, and like. I just keep it like Batman, like you're saying, T. I want to see Batman. I don't want to see like some random thing going on. But just like in the animated series, the first one, where like there's like a guy he used to train with suddenly became like a thief who's now like stealing from Bruce Wayne and shit, and like Batman has to deal with him, and he doesn't know if he can take it. I would like to see that, where it's like one, like let's say Michael J. White is one of his friends still, but like he lives like somewhere else. But like Lady Shiva and this other dude have like become a couple, and now they're like terrorizing Gotham, and like Bruce can't take them on by himself, so he calls his friend, and they both like take things on both as they do, something along those lines. That's what I wouldn't mind seeing, where it's like Batman is able, like I want to see him have like a one-on-one with Lady Shiva, because like I would love a proper definitive show of which one would win in a fight. And the same with all these other characters, like especially if they're considered, like I think the Peter Morgan guy, the white dude, apparently I think he actually won against Batman, or if it was, I think it was Michael J. White's character. I can't remember which one actually won definitively in the comics with Batman. So it's kind of like these guys are literally the cream of the crop, like the top 4 or top 5 among the top 5, and they're all like circling one another. If we're going to do a movie about it, like let's do like fine, Enter the Dragon style with a little bit of Kill Bill, but let it be a storyline where it's a modern day Batman.
You know, I had a couple of transitions in my head. At first, the original idea was for the storyline was kind of thinking of Hush, but it's like a little bit too elaborate for what I was thinking. And then you're talking and blah blah blah, and I came down to like the kind of vibe I would want is more like John Wick. If I want to see if I want to see Batman in martial arts, then I want to see it through will. Right? Maybe he teams up in a fight, but maybe he has to battle somebody. But when he teams up, it's literally more like a consequence of circumstance. Not he's like, I need your help. It's probably more like he shows up there. And he's like, I don't need your help, right? Right? Like, and the person's like swinging off his back, and they're coordinating, even though he's like, I don't need your help. But he's like, but it's like, why is the choreo so damn good for somebody who's trying not to be helped by you? But like at the same time, he's using the help, right? But yeah, something like John Wick. Like if I want to see all out Batman just fight, and I don't want to see his detective abilities, so I want some of it. I like that John Wick. John Wick's got a little bit of detective and a whole lot of will, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we never get the Batman. Even when we get the fighting, we don't get it to that caliber. And I think Batman perfectly fits into that John Wick style if you want to tell that kind of story. But yeah, so that's kind of where my head kind of sits with that. I'd want it to be like a animated John Wick-esque thing.
That sounds dope. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, like them not understanding the times, right? Like you can just look at stuff around you and be like, okay, I want to tell this story. What kind of things can we do with this? And it's like John Wick is like a very style is like a very easy kind of like, not easy to do, but I mean like you could take that and figure out how to blend the two. And then he's like, people would be like, oh, this is because it's what we know now. It's what we'd be excited by, and it would be a surprise.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to another topic, which actually I'm a little bit interested to see what Tactix thinks, given what he just said about focusing on a specific character as opposed to doing like a group mentality. So it has been announced this past week that the CW, I don't know if it's going to be Arrowverse, it might be Arrowverse, but CW has announced that they are doing a Wonder Girl TV series. And I want to know what you guys thought about that. Darce, how about you go first?
I don't care. and not because it's Wonder Girl, 100%. I actually one of the only people who watch Supergirl. It's next season is this last season, right? I feel like it got canceled. I'm pretty sure it's still one more season that's coming. Like it's like the last one. I actually like Supergirl, weirdly enough. And I just don't care for this because
why?
It's CW. I'm just tired of CW. I'm tired of the formula, okay? Like, stop intermixing things into shows that don't need to be there. Like, hey, we can't have a superhero unless there's a love triangle problem somewhere, right? You know, like, can we get to a season where relationships don't matter? You know, like, can we just have relationships be pivotal the way they would be in the comic books to some degree? Like, you know, make a season where we have to introduce a love interest because we're going to introduce a villain, and there's something that intermixes the two of them in a storyline that makes a lot of sense. And it, you know, it's like when you talk about Marvel and you're like, oh, we can't do this without Spider-Man. It just doesn't make sense without Spider-Man, right? It's like, all right, that's when the love interest needs to come in. But can we have a season where like the superhero doesn't have a love interest problem, like doesn't even have a relationship, like doesn't even talk about relationships because it just doesn't matter right now? like so I don't know. I just like, I mean, unless it surprises me, I'll probably watch like 5 episodes and then I'll be like, oh, it's going back to the same formula again.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, man. I this is a hard pass for me, man. I really don't care. I'll probably give it the standard 3 episode watch, but like all of these CW shows are now like, and I'm holding on to like Flash by like this much, but even then it's like I'm getting very agitated with the CW format because it's just like it's One Tree Hill with motherfuckers in capes. Like that's what it is, man. That's all it is.
yeah.
I'm just over it. I'm over the format. Like, you know, it was okay. I was okay with it. I was fine with it with Smallville. You know, Smallville had its own set of problems near the end, but you know, I was okay with the love shit that was going on there. I'm like, okay, I can get behind this because, you know, at the end of the day, it's Superman. He's a cool character. I'm still here with it, right? But then they deviated from a lot of storylines and stuff, and that's where my issues were with Smallville. But then Arrow came out. First season was amazing. I don't care what anyone says. It was great. It was the best rendition of Batman that we'll ever get on TV, even though it wasn't a Batman show.
Yeah.
So that's why I really liked it. And then that kind of went off the rails. And then Flash, it was just like, oh, okay, yo, we got a cool character, you know, and you get to see all the Flash's cool, amazing abilities. And then again, they added this whole OC bullshit or the One Tree Hill format, and I'm just like, fuck, yeah. I'm out. And then we got what, like all those other shows. What's
like,
that?
Did Stargirl come out already? Or
yeah.
I'm not even watching that.
Yeah.
And then Batwoman, like they couldn't even keep the main actress. Like she's gone because she's like, yo, I'm not with this CW shit. Like I'm out. So I feel like it's gonna be a new Batwoman character every single year, man. Because it's like, yo, man, that's not what I signed up for. So,
yo, you know what's killing me about the Batwoman? It's going literally from like Batwoman to Black Woman because I'm like, I don't know how they're going to explain this. Like, I'm all for if you wanted to introduce this, but I'm like, okay, so she has this like nerdy sidekick, right? Who's the son of what's his name?
Lucius Fox.
Yeah, Lucius Fox's son, right, in the show. And so I'm like, is it going to be his sister or his cousin Like I'm like otherwise, if it's the same girl, I'm sorry. But like flipping an entire race on a person, like and a noticeable race is like
I went to Jamaica and came back black with a cape. What's up with it?
Because it's like it'd be one thing if it went from a white person to like an Asian person, right? So like the mouth, you just don't know the difference, right? And so all this time they thought it was this one person. Then when they reveal the mask, you're like, oh my god, I was so wrong, right? But when their mouth changes skin color, you're like, bro, we all know without you taking the mask off, this ain't the same person. Like, like
you're taking the whole concealing your secret identity to a whole nother level, yo.
Yeah. Yo,
it's like I thought she was white, but she's really black. Next year she's gonna be Pakistani.
Yo, like it works with Spider-Man because he's entirely covered. Right? Like
I do like the way you said T. It's like I went to Jamaica, came back, and there we are.
Yo, I can't remember. She also has like curly hair in it too. I gotta see the picture again because like it's like her hair is different too. It's like, yo, this is not the same person.
Like honestly, I didn't even watch the first.
She have dreadlocks.
Yo,
red dreadlocks, bro.
Yo, the thing is like I think they're casting her as the exact same person, right? Which I think so. Which is like, oh, inclusion. I'm like, this is literally inclusion done wrong if it's the same person.
Yeah,
because the whole supervillain is her twin, and her twin is white, and the whole time they've been like, kind of look similar. Now
but then what they're gonna do there is they're gonna pull a Joker and then she's gonna wipe and she's actually gonna be black, just like Jack Nicholson. Now get out of here.
Yo, no, because it's like the whole first 2 seasons like we're identical twins. Third season, nah, we paternal twins. Ma.
Oh man, it will definitely be a unique world if we suddenly get to the point that like they flipped. It's one thing to change races, like just like make it more diverse. But if you're gonna do it with an already established show, like not even like a source material and then translating, it's like even within the show they went black or Pakistani or Asian during the show. It's like,
yeah. With the same character, with no explanation, like what we're gonna have Flash run through, run back out, and drop her in. Like,
it's Barry, like, what did you do? Did you go back in time again?
Yo, it's like all of a sudden, like we actually find out that it's Barry's like a woman who's like now is Batwoman.
Oh shit!
See, if that happened, I'd actually be down because I'd be like, you know what? Okay, now she actually has a legitimate role. Okay,
yeah,
like in terms of
her purpose actually makes sense if that's the case. Because it's like, how are you on the team? What do you do?
She's like the leader.
Iris is the leader.
She leads all the stuff at the Star thing, like at this point now, right? She's like
a scientist.
No, I know, but she's the one who like she's kind of like Barbara, right? Like when she's doing the what's her title when she's in the clock tower? She's kind of like that.
Oracle.
Yeah. And her saying is, "We are the Flash," and I'm like, "No, bitch. Flash is the Flash. Stop trying to make that happen. It's not gonna happen."
Are they married? Can she claim like a half and half?
Yeah, they're married, but even still, it's like, "We are the Flash." I'm like, "No, you're not. You don't run fast, okay?
Yo,
you're on an intercom the entire time. That's your power. You talk,
bro.
You're in IT."
Bro, I'm imagining her right now at a divorce meeting with the judge and be like, okay, I need custody of half of the Speed Force.
Like, girl, you want half my shit?
Season 8, the Flash loses half the speed, and just see Iris like running through the whole time.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So moving on. It seems like we're in agreement. No one's going to watch that show. So the new Justice League trailer is the second trailer that dropped recently. Now, actually, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you guys speak before I say my stuff. So, Darcy, what did you think of the new Justice League trailer?
It's the same trailer in black and white and square. That's the whole thing. I'm like, new trailer. What, man? You just put it film noir. Like that's all you did. Like, hold a second. Let me just take the old trailer. Let me just pull up a iMovie here. Let me just put black and white export to the and call it a new day. That's all it was. It was the same trailer. I saw like maybe half of a clip that looked kind of new, and it was like an angle on the same thing.
T?
Yeah, so I actually was watching a video where they were talking about this and read an article, and the situation actually was that when they initially launched the original trailer for what was the event called? The
DC
fandom, yeah. They had some copyright issues or music infringement with the original music that they had used.
Yeah.
So they actually, for a period of time, the trailer was stripped from all online sources. So it wasn't on YouTube or anything. I didn't even realize because I only watched. You watch it when you first see it,
yeah,
like 1,000 times, and then you're kind of over it, right? And then I guess they worked out the rights for the music and put it back up, and then they called it a new trailer because, like Darcy said, like they just put it in black and white and added like maybe 2 or 3 new clips that we hadn't seen. But at the end of the day, it was still essentially the same trailer that we got. So yeah,
legally it was like appropriate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had to put it back out because like now that they have the rights, the guy's like, okay, I want my royalties on this music.
Yeah.
like pump it and like now we have to like announce like it's something new.
And that's probably why they called it a new trailer, because then it gets more people like more people watching it, right?
Yeah.
And talking about it.
I have nothing more to add to what you guys have said because like I could not give a shit more. Like already this. I think it's going to be like a short mini series, but like already this thing is like I have very limited expectations on this. This trailer did nothing to add it to me, and frankly, I am sick and tired of that song. When it comes to like this universe, like it's fine. It's like I like the song itself, but like I am sick and tired of it. Zack Snyder, just stop using it. Just stop using it. We good at this point.
The first time was fine. I've the second time watching a new trailer with it didn't do anything for me.
But it's not a good song for the Justice League.
Yeah, it's fair. I was intrigued by it because I won't lie. Like, there's a part of me that's just like wanted so much different than Joss Whedon that I was just like, oh, this feels different. Thank you. Right? Like the tone of this movie is going to be darker. Great. That's like that was appealing. That part of me that was just like, thank you. It's not Joss Whedon. But
what was the song that Joss Whedon used in his trailer?
I don't think he did.
No, I remember in the original trailer there was like there was a song that they used that I remember enjoying. It fit really well with the shots. Anyway, I can't remember what it was, but
you want to Google it, Darcy? Be the music guy.
I think it's "Men Are Better" by We Are the Racists.
Okay.
Wait, are you trolling? Like what the fuck is that? Maxwell song? What the fuck?
No, I was trying. Like Umar, I love how you just accepted what I said. Didn't even hear.
Trust me. What the fuck? That does not sound like a song at all.
Umar, what did I say? I was trying not to laugh. I said, "Men Are Better," but We Are the Racists. I was just trying to weed every claim about Joss Whedon and all into one. I don't know. I don't even care to look at this point because I don't want to relive it. You know what bugs me though, like in general about trailers though, is like, so there's like this argument, and on John Campia's show was talking about this. Like they shouldn't so one of the movies, I forget which. Oh, Mortal Kombat. Okay. Mortal Kombat delayed COVID like everything else, right? And so they announced their new director and new writer, and like that's always a scary deal. But they made one smart decision, which is they decided to not drop a trailer and not drop a release date until things start to change with COVID, where every other studio has been like, here's our release date, here's our new release date. Here's our new release date. Here's our new release date. Like, and this is what's been going on. So these guys are like, we'll let you know, right? And it's smart. And he was making the argument like we're overhyping right now, right? Because like people have like an amount of like we can hear about it and then we don't hear about it, we don't care. Like Wonder Woman 84, how excited are you right now, right? You know, like I'm gonna watch it, but I don't care to hear anything about it at this point because I've heard about it for so long and you haven't given it to me. So it reminds me of like when your girlfriends be like, man, you talk about too much and you didn't do shit.
And apparently that's coming to streaming.
Yeah, theater and streaming.
Yeah.
When this stuff drops on streaming and we're all stuck at home, of course we're gonna watch it. It's gonna be like we're gonna break records for online streaming for a movie. Period. Right? Even Mulan, I think, broke records, and you know. So, but like, but the point being is like when it comes, great. But like, stop talking about it so much in the interim. Yeah, did your fandom great, and then just kind of stay quiet. And like same thing for Zack Snyder. It's like please stop talking about it until we get really close, and then hype me up, and then let me watch it each week.
And also, I don't need the updates that he keeps saying about like what he's adding to the stuff. I'm like,
I do not need that. I don't
give a shit.
I'm sorry. Like like that PR hype isn't the same problem. It's whatever. Like it's giving us diminishing returns in terms of our excitement, for me, anyways. But the other thing I feel they need to stop doing that is because one, we're having no surprise, and so you should like let us be surprised and just not say anything. And two, it's making me worried about every other DC problem we've ever had, which is too many things. So just don't. Just stop talking. Start talking 3 weeks, 4 weeks before the launch. Get me hyped again, and then hype it every week for the next episode, and then let it ride and see where it goes.
We still don't even have a date for this thing.
Yeah, we got no date. It's like yo, baby, I'm gonna take you out, okay? It's gonna be the best time of your life. Okay, when we going, baby? It's gonna be the best time of your life.
don't even worry about it. It'll be the best time of your life.
Baby, my homie it's got hit me up, and then I'll get the ends on the 15th, and we gonna hook it up. We gonna get it. It's gonna be the best night of your life.
Okay, so moving on to our final topic for tonight. It has to do, this is a relatively old thing, but it's kind of like been making, I guess, waves recently because of The Mandalorian. Season 2 has been doing really well. So Gina Carano, who everyone knows plays Cara Dune on The Mandalorian, she's been having some controversy on Twitter. Tactix, do you know about this? Because I know Darcy and I.
Clue.
Okay, so the situation is she is currently going through a little bit of cancel culture herself, and has been basically saying she's like a victim of online bullying. However, the things that people are bullying her over, and the reason why cancel culture is focused on her a little bit, is because she has been tweeting about not wearing your mask. She has also been retweeting
Is she for it or against it?
She's against wearing a mask.
Okay.
She's also been retweeting a lot of like super right-wing stuff. So like, I don't know if she is a Trump supporter, but she definitely retweets a lot of things from people who support Trump. So
at least make America decent again.
Do something along those lines. Also, and this was a big thing. I think this is what started everything, was when she kind of like on her Twitter main page, she the pronouns for transgendered people, how like that's becoming like more of an awareness sort of thing. Mm-hmm. She kind of she made fun of those pronouns and made that her official, like part of her official Twitter page. So people kind of brought up the fact, it's like, hey, do you even know what you're talking about? And she responded back by saying, yes, Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, has like told me all about the like pronouns for transgendered people. I'm not saying anything should happen to you guys, but I'm not taking down my joke. And then people were like, well, you're being really offensive. And she's like, well, you're being online bullies. So that's kind of what's been going on right now. And I'm not going to lie, this has made it, I wouldn't say that this makes me, like, it hasn't ruined The Mandalorian for me. It hasn't even ruined the character of Cara Dune for me. Well, I haven't seen her this season, so I don't know yet. Well, I would have to say that this was actually disappointing because, the whole Trump thing. She's allowed to have her own political views, in my opinion. Yes, we probably won't date now, and that is that is the only reason why me and her won't date now, because of her allegiances to the far right.
Only
reason. But it was disappointing. But I was like, fine. But the being an anti-mask person and also making fun of transgendered people, ooh, that was disappointing. But what? Oh, actually, no, Darcy, I should let you add stuff so Tactix has a full perspective.
So, I have more my opinions, less like facts to add in here. But I just had a funny thought of what's the Mandalorian's name again? The actor?
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro showing up like wearing the Mandalorian mask and be like, "So what are you saying about not wearing masks?" He's like, "I've been anti-mask this whole time, but I'm still doing it." I have a lot of different feelings and thoughts around this whole thing, which is one, I have too many things to say. One, I'm disappointed in her because I saw the behind the scenes episodes on the Mandalorian, and she seemed like such a good, kind-hearted, decent person, and she probably still is a very good and kind-hearted, decent person. She just got views that I don't agree with if she wants to make America decent to great again, and on top of that, the mask thing, whatever. That whole belief system is ridiculous to me. But whatever, it is what it is. There's a kind of two parts to this. I know she's claiming she's a victim, right? In social media bullying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And technically, I agree in the sense that
really,
anytime that you have a situation, I think that the way cancel culture and the way a lot of stuff works online is social bullying. However you want to justify it being correct, people say this person's doing something wrong online, so we, the 100,000 people who respond to that Twitter or whatever, we're all right and saying what we want to say back to this person. But if like I was saying to you offline, Umar, if you and I have a disagreement on Star Trek, right? Or you and I had a disagreement on Batman, and you have one view and I have a different view, and I line up 50 friends that I know that have the same view as me, right?
Yeah.
And they're all decent. I present my argument to you, and you respect how I present my argument. And all my 50 of my friends will do the same thing. But at some point, lining up 50 people to say it nicely to you is becoming a bullying act, right? It's just
I see what you're saying. It's it becomes social pressure.
Yeah, right. And so we know in reality, my 50 people aren't going to say it nicely. Some of the people, some people are going to run over you like a trucker, right? So the problem is that she is right, and I totally don't like the bullying aspect of social. But the flip side is she kind of put herself out there because you have to also be intelligent in what you look at, how you share stuff online. You have to know if you're bringing controversy because of the social landscape that you're in, and whether or not, especially if you're in a giant, large public forum, and whether or not you choose to bring that bullying to yourself. Because she can have all those opinions and just keep them to people that she knows in real life and not have had this problem, right? But she decided to put those things into the world, and now she's getting the bullying. So she's right, she's a victim of bullying, but it's kind of self-inflicted.
So now, T, that you've heard all of this, what's your perspective on this?
So I personally feel like she's entitled to her own opinion. As someone in the public eye, though, she has to understand and be aware and be willing to accept the consequences of her opinions, especially if she's choosing to put it out there. Like Darcy was saying, she kind of, all of this is self-inflicted, right? She's got to understand and be very aware that if she has opposing views against the majority for a particular topic, then she's got to understand that there's going to be some backlash, regardless of which way you choose to direct your opinion or express your opinion. You're always going to have opposing views. But I feel like the majority of people especially pertaining to the mask situation, are all in agreement that, you know, this is something that needs to be done. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to go anywhere where people didn't believe or didn't implement the whole wearing the mask, right? Because it's become a mandatory thing, right?
It's also scientifically proven to be helpful.
Right. You know, I mean, but there are some arguments against that, and I understand that. I mean, I'm still for the masks and whatnot, but I also do understand the other side of it as well, right? But again, like I said, she's entitled to her opinion, and you know, if you're going to put your opinions out online publicly, then you have to suffer the ramifications and the consequences for that, especially with the transgender comment. I mean, we're seeing a lot of like Dave Chappelle is a prime example of that in terms of like his views on the transgender community and how he's been suffering some backlash from it, and his jokes, his stance on it is that I'm a comedian, this is what I do, I'm making a joke, and I have a right to make that. But I was actually talking to my cousin CJ, and he brought up a good point in regards to that, in that, you know, when it comes to comedians and how they retreat in this notion of I'm a comedian, so therefore I am allowed to say this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is that a lot of the times these comedians, when they're saying these jokes, it's because they don't have a full grasp or an understanding of the community, right? And so, or just in terms of like the people that they're quote unquote attacking, right? Like when a white person is, you know, demonstrating his comedy in a way that is demeaning, or is just directed towards the black community, right? That's walking a very thin line, unless you have a comedian like, for example, Gary Owens. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's been in a couple of Kevin Hart movies. He's the white guy in a lot of the his movies and whatnot. And Gary Owens is actually married to a black woman. And, you know, he comes from a trailer park household, grew up in the trailer park, married a black girl. That's his shit. Like he loves his black women. And so he understands the culture. And so his comedy is a representation of that. He doesn't walk. I mean, he walks a thin line, but he knows not to cross certain barriers. Like you'll never hear him say the N-word, at least not publicly. Right. And so, because of that, and because of the way his comedy is portrayed, he has an understanding of the black community because he's in it. Therefore, I feel like he almost gets a pass in terms of the comedy that he's performing, right?
It's like lived experience,
exactly, right? And with Dave Chappelle, now I don't know if for him he's kind of approaching it in a way where it's like, you know, I've always been a racy comic, and therefore, in order for me to stay relevant, I need to, you know, continue in that format as a way to kind of gain or maintain my popularity, right? I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent and going off track, but bringing it back to Gina Carano's scenario in terms of that, I feel like unless she has an understanding of that community, then she walks a very thin line and pretty much crosses that line when she starts making jokes about a particular community, that being the transgender community, right? It's almost like I kind of equate it to like when you see, like, let's say, for example, you take a homosexual male who's interacting with a female and calls her a bitch or touches her breast or whatever like that. No one bats an eye at that kind of behavior because of the fact that he has an understanding of what it's like to be feminine, right? If a straight male did that and everything, all hell would break loose. But because there's an understanding of things in that regard from a homosexual male interacting with a female in that regard, he pretty much gets a pass in that regard, right?
Are you talking about like a cross-dresser who like dresses as a woman, or are you talking about like
no, just a gay male who acts very feminine, doesn't necessarily not necessarily a cross-dresser, but it's like if this guy is blatantly homosexual and he's interacting, because it's similar to how girls usually act, especially when they get drunk and they're like,
like
they're very touchy feely with each other, like not in a sexual way, but if they're just joking around or whatever, that's sometimes how you see females interact with each other. If a gay male did that same thing to a female, I don't think people, for example, like I don't think people would bat an eye in the same regard as if, myself or any of you guys would do that to a female. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just think there has to, if you, it's okay to tell these jokes and stuff, but there has to be an understanding there. If you're just like kind of ignorant to the community and you're just falling back and saying all this shit, then obviously there's going to be ramifications for that kind of behavior. So,
well, like you can't even say that because she no longer can claim ignorance. She literally admitted that Pedro Pascal informed her. Mm-hmm. And what I feel is like it's interesting that you brought up about the Dave Chappelle thing, but like you said, those are comedians, and they are knowingly walking that razor's edge. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they can say what they're saying is jokes. What she's saying is like she's not a comedian; she's an actress / bodybuilder / boxer, and she is making I find what she's doing is, and again, this is my opinion, but I find what she's doing is dangerous. She's trivializing the slow building of rights, like social rights for a marginalized group that has a very high mortality rate that comes from either suicides or being murdered. Like mm-hmm. These people live, like their average lifespan is like 35 mm-hmm. because of suicides and murder. Mm-hmm. And also complications due to their surgeries. Yeah. So like fine, you can, and I agree with what you said, Tactix, like the mask thing. You can find doctors who will say the opposing thing about wearing a mask versus what not wearing a mask. So fine, like let's put that towards your own. Even I personally think it's dangerous, but let's make that mm-hmm. as like something that's a personal choice. Mm-hmm. Just like her choosing to support, like make America all right again, like you said, Darcy. But with the transgender thing, I'm like I find that to be she has a public platform, and she mm-hmm. is fueling the fire against them. Like mm-hmm. she is one of the people fueling the fire against them, and I find that to be dangerous.
Absolutely. You have a responsibility as a public figure to represent yourself in a certain way. And again, like I said, you're entitled to your opinion, but you also have to accept the consequences and understand what those consequences are, right? So
yeah. And honestly, the one thing that bugs me about all this is when people, like, as much as a mask is inconvenient in your life, that mm-hmm. people don't, the action of what we're trying to do, the mask, the social distancing, the using different pronouns for people and stuff like that, it's in the larger respect, in the macro of looking at your life around us, it's not the biggest inconvenience ever. And people they do things that I feel are just too selfish. Like, you can be more selfless, like, especially with the pronouns. Like, it's like, oh, it offends me so deeply. But like, what does it offend? It's nothing to do about you. It's about somebody else, right?
Exactly.
It's just I feel like that's just being ridiculous. Like, mm-hmm. people be like, oh, I don't like, homophobic people be like, oh, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It offends me so deeply. I'm like, it's not happening. Nothing they're doing has anything to do with what goes on in your life. You have a small interaction and you move on, right? Mm-hmm. Like, exactly, yeah. Like, it's like, just, stop making it so about you. Stop being mm-hmm. selfish about that.
It has nothing to do with them. Like, unless, like, yeah, it has nothing to do with them. So yeah. I'm in agreement.
And with everything with COVID, it's like everything, nobody knows what they're doing, so we're all just trying. So like, mm-hmm. just try and see if we can try to solve stuff before the governments, depending on what country you're in, have to start getting real dictator like, because they have no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so thank you guys for talking to me about this, because unfortunately I won't be marrying Gina Carano now.
No, bro. I mean, it never was in the cards, but
I'm sorry that I'm sorry her public display of indecency ruined your chances.
I saw that, Darcy.
That's what did it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end on that note and wrap things up. It is your boy, Dad. Wow. Darcy is
my
rubbing off
name?
on me, man.
Oh man.
Take two.
Take two. Man, I forgot my line, guys. This is
It's your boy Tactix.
this has been another edition of the Geeky Bros podcast. It's your boy Tactix. I got it. Cool.
Darcy over here making America nothing again.
You mean the Darcy?
The Darcy doing nothing.
And this is Big Geek Umar. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. Live long and prosper.